Let's begin playing a little Lily Princess. It was spring when Sarah's school life. Oh, more music. It was spring when Sarah's school life began, but spring in London was nothing like any spring she had known before. The morning sun was not enough to lift the chill from the stony streets, and the mist off the river blended with the smoke of countless chimneys to form a thick yellow fog. If we turn on the auto adjust a bit. In such weather, the gas lamps burned burned night and day, flickering like stars to guide the horse-drawn ships to their destinations. But the ship that had carried her across the ocean was now a thing of the past. Here, then, was Sarah's new home. It was big. It was a big, dull brick house, exactly like all the others in its row, except at the front door there shone a brass plate, which was engraved in black letters. Miss Minchin's Select Seminary for Young Ladies. Girls, gather around if you please. Come, hurry up. We have a new pupil who will be joining us starting today. Her name is Sarah Carew, and she is only recently arrived in England, so you must all make her feel welcome. How do you do? The room filled with a chorus of gently murmured greetings. Sarah Carew, for that was her name, looked out upon a garden of strangers. Every face was turned to her, polite and attentive and perfectly foreign. She felt more lost than she had ever been at sea. Sarah, dear, as you can see, we have pupils here of all levels, but these three are particularly near your age. This is Miss Lavinia Herbert. Charmed. Miss Ermengarde St. John. And Miss Jessie Abbott. We're very pleased to meet you. I'm not going to remember any of these voices. Except the teachers. I'm very pleased to meet you as well. I've never known very many girls near my age. Nor any other age. Sarah's life before that point had not been isolated, but sheltered. Her mother had died when she was born, leaving Sarah to be raised by a young, handsome father who was the only relation she had ever known. Some fathers had little time for their children, but Sarah and her papa had always been quite close, reading books and playing games together every day. He treated her as a little confidant, sharing his thoughts with her as if she were his peer and not a very young girl, and listened solemnly to the advice she gave in return, even though he didn't always follow it. Sarah had never felt lonely, but it must be said that she had very little experience in making new friends. Sarah's father, Captain Carew, makes his home in India, and he is returning there as we speak. I shall expect you all to be very agreeable to her. Now, Sarah, take your seat. Your father has informed me how very much you enjoy your studies, and I expect you to be a credit to this establishment. I'm not certain how to become a credit, but I do wish to learn. This statement was met with muffled giggles. Confused, Sarah looked back at Miss Minchin for guidance. Take your seat, I said. But which seat is mine? Concerned that she would look disobedient if she hesitated further, she slid into the nearest empty place. Nora objected, and she let out a sigh of relief. Nearby, two girls turned to whisper to each other. What a way of speaking! So old-fashioned. Hush! And eyes are such a curious color. A funny-looking child, to be sure. Well, she isn't as pretty as other pretty people are, but there's something about her which makes you want to look at her again to see what it is. And she has tremendously long eyelashes. Only you would notice such a thing. Girls! Kindly pay attention to your lessons. Oh, hello there. Yes, Miss Minchin. I saw her go for a walk, and that was it. Choose an activity for Sarah to perform each day. Every activity has 3 possible outcomes, which will change the icons you receive. At the end of the week, Sarah's icons will be collected and turned into resources. So, knowledge, artistry, patience, sympathy, grace, belief, and vigor. Now, I've played a game. Long Live the Queen. I've played Long Live the Queen. Is this like that? Icons are only converted at the end of the week. Until then, they can be changed or lost by other activities. Plan the order of your activities in order to get the best results for the week. Okay, so again, I've never played this before. So if we read a book, we gain 3, was it knowledge? Gain artistry and knowledge, or just gain knowledge. So it seems like there's a random chance of which one we'll wind up getting if we decide to read a book. And yeah, it seems to be that every day of the week is the same there. So 2 artistry and 2 grace would be awesome. Okay, grace and then belief and vigor. So yeah, 2 art and 2 grace. That would be nice. Or double all vigor, but we don't have vigor in the first place. Yeah, vigor is only 1. Okay, so if we do this last... that might be a good idea. Gain belief. What's the heart again? Sympathy. Artistry and vigor. Or just gain vigor. Or gain artistry equal to half of the artistry. Gain artistry equal to vigor. Gain belief equal to vigor. Or gain vigor and patience. The music is just slowly getting louder and louder. Right? Diary. Okay. See, like, practice dance, double all vigor, which means that, like, you want to have had vigor already. Gain artistry equal to half the artistry. You want to have artistry already, or else that would be useless on day 1. 2 of the 3 things are useless on day 1, because you need to have vigor for all of that. What if Thursday we practice dance, on Friday we go for a walk, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday we do stuff that should give us vigor, then we have a chance of doubling it, and then Friday we have a good chance of getting a lot of artistry or belief. No, devoutness? Because that's belief. Belief, knowledge, and artistry, or 2 belief and 2 sympathy. That's grace, by the way. Or gain 2 patience, because we could just do this to start off. Tea party. Okay. Alright, cool. I can do that. And then go for a walk. Let's do tea party day 1. Because we want to get lots of stuff that gives us vigor, but it's like, yeah, that can give 1. Someone is messaging me. Oh, it's just an announcement. Okay. Nothing to worry about here. Okay. So my diary doesn't give us any. Go for a walk. Could. Playing with toys has a good chance of it. Alright, so that's 2 out of 3 chance to get it. So let's play with toys, and then practice dance and go for a walk and see, because we have a good chance of getting at least some amount of vigor. Now the schedule that you have set will be carried out. Each weekday, Sarah will point to the randomly chosen result, and those icons will appear on the right side of the screen. You do not have to press to advance between days. It will happen automatically. You can adjust the speed of activities from the preferences menu. Remember, icons are referred to resource at the end of the week. You sort of double on knowledge will double your current knowledge icons, but not your long-term knowledge resources. Otherwise, that would be way broken. So, okay. Drat. Okay. Drat. That was bad. Yeah. It wasn't actually nothing, but it was bad. Alright. Do the stats only go up to like 10? My room, my 2 rooms, just for me. There is what was known as a parlor border, where other girls were quartered in standard issue single rooms. She had a large bedroom, uniquely decorated, and a separate sitting room with a comfortable sofa. My papa has filled them with beautiful things: books, velvet cushions, lace dresses, a porcelain tea set, hats with great feathers that bob on them, even a tiger rug to remind me of India. Looks like a room that would belong to the daughter of of an Indian princess. I only wish that this room also contained my papa. Perhaps it does. He gave me all these things, and whenever I touch them, I can imagine that he is with me. When I read his farewell letter, I can hear his voice. My dear little missus, so here we are, in the place you always knew you must go. But be of good cheer, you will not have to stay for a very long time. There will be a lot of little girls, and you will play together, and I will send you plenty of books, and you will grow so fast it will seem scarcely a year before you are big enough and clever enough to come back and take care of Papa. I am not in the least anxious about your education. You are always sitting with your little nose burrowing into books, gobbling them up as if you were a little wolf instead of a little girl. I've instructed Miss Minchkin to drag you away from your books when you read too much, make you go and ride your pony in the row, or buy a new doll. You ought to play more with dolls. Oh, Papa, if I bought a new doll every day, I should have too many to be able to make friends with them all. I'm happy, suggested Emily, and happier because I was with you when I met her. Emily, of course, was the name of a doll, a very special doll that Sarah discovered when her papa took her to visit the premier toy shops of London. She was a large doll, but not too large to carry about easily. She had naturally curling golden brown hair, which hung like a mantle about her, and her eyes were a deep, clear gray-blue, with soft, thick eyelashes, which were real eyelashes and not mere painted lines. At Sarah's insistence, she had been given a wardrobe every bit as grand as Sarah's own, with frocks and coats and nightgowns and beautiful lace trimmed under things. She even had her own tiny lady's handkerchief and her own cradle bed at the foot of Sarah's. That's what the bed is for! Sarah lifted Emily up onto her lap and smiled at her, just as she would another little girl. My papa is on the sea now, Emily. We must be very great friends to each other, intimate friends, and tell each other things. Look at me, Emily. If that doll moves! You have the nicest eyes I ever saw, but I wish you could speak. No. She brushed Emily's hair fondly, settling her in pride of place. There were so many girls in this school. I've never seen so many children in one place before. I'm afraid I shall not remember all of their names. Don't worry, I don't remember any of their names, not even the teachers. I've always known that someday I would be required to go away, to leave my home and my papa and come to England to be educated. I must do my duty, even if I do not like it. I dare say soldiers, even brave ones, don't really like going into battle, but they must do it anyway and not cry and fuss. So must I, but oh, it is so lonely. She could not know, of course, how her quiet sorrow might be misinterpreted by others. Miss Minchin, the proprietor, had seen the lavish preparations for Sarah's pretty little room, included that here was a child who had always been given her own way at the expense of others. Such a spoiled little girl might be expected to kick and scream and set the whole house in an uproar when bannered by her only parent. That she did not suggest to Miss Minchin that Sarah cared nothing at all for her papa, but only for her dress and toys. Such was not a thought that inspired sympathy in her heart for the newcomer. Just then there came a sound at the door of Sarah's room. Sarah is not a girl easily given to forestalment, but she had a healthy share of curiosity and went at once to see what it was. Outside sat a little girl, right on a bottom in the middle of the hall. Her baby plump legs splayed looks like the doll, and the lace of her petticoat askew as if she had just toppled over, which, in fact, she had. Hello there. Who might you be? I'm Lottie. Her words were hard to make out through the fingers she had shoved into her mouth. Lottie? The fingers were withdrawn and wiped dry among the frills of her skirt. Lottie Lay. Sarah smiled. Here, then, was a chance to meet just one person at a time instead of a crowd of strangers. Well, then, I'm Sarah Crewe, and now we are properly introduced. She held out a hand and helped the little girl to her feet. Was there something you wanted? May I look at your doll? Of course you may. Come and visit me in my room, and we can have tea together. My papa left me a beautiful tea set with lilies painted on it. Emily has her own service as well, size for her hand, because she is too small to hold one of my cups. I want to see. Come inside, then, and I'll introduce you to Emily. And that was Sarah's first week of classes at Miss Minskin's Select Seminary for Young Ladies. Oh. On the weekends, you can spend the resources you've collected in order to unlock scenes with different characters. The crimes for each event will be listed on the box next to the character. If it requires 5 belief, you must have at least 5 belief. Playing that event will lower your current belief by 5. Okay. Some scenes will not be available until later in the story. Others can only be played early in the game. Pay attention to the requirements. It's best to focus your attention on only 2 or 3 characters in order to have time to play all of their scenes. Okay. So 3 characters are available. So we have the 2 gossipers. We have you. Okay. So we need 3 Grace for week 2. Lottie is nice. Wait. It's this one, right? If I want... This one means play Jesse's event? I'm saving the game because I might click the wrong button. Okay, no, it is the lighter. It's hard to tell. Yeah, Lottie seems nice, but we can get a free Jesse event, so let's see what Jesse's like. Hello, Sarah. May I come in to visit? Sarah rose to her feet at once. You are very welcome. Please come... You are very welcome. Please come inside. Jessie stepped into the room, then held out her skirt to drop a delicate curtsy in greeting. I know we have been... Like the music. I know we have been introduced, but I wish to make your acquaintance more personally. And without Lavi listening in. Lavania? I thought that you and she were the best of friends. Of course we are. I adore her. She's so classic. So elegant and focused. I admire her so very much. However, sometimes it is nicer to do things for oneself. Are those real silk stockings you're wearing? Sarah blinked, caught unawares by this change of topic. Yes, I have several pairs. My papa took me to many shops while he was in London. They're darling. Mine are owned Leslie Cotton. May I see the pattern? Sarah sat down in a comfortable armchair, lifting the hem of her skirt slightly so that the floral embroidery over her ankle was visible. What little feet you have! I never saw such little feet. I don't know, have you met Lottie? Are they small? She raised her leg a bit, pointing her toes and moving her foot this way and that. They seem the same size they've always been, even though I know they must have been smaller when I was younger. I'm sure that Lottie's feet are smaller than mine. And Emily's, of course, are the smallest of all. Emily? Emily is the doll that my papa brought to be my companion. Sarah stood up and lifted Emily into her arms for Jessie to admire. Emily, this is Jessie Abbott, my new friend. The older girl dropped a beautiful curtsy, then laughed. I'm loving this game. Oh, she has silk stockings too. Stockings with such teeny tiny feet. How cute. But you do have small feet for your height, Sarah. I'm sure you do. Look at mine. Jessie pressed her foot up alongside Sarah's for comparison. I just don't know whether larger or smaller feet are better. For dancing, I mean. If you dance with a partner, small feet would be better to avoid being stepped on, and they look very stylish in slippers. Slippers are cuter if they are smaller, but large feet might be better for holding positions and standing on your toes. Small feet may not be as strong. Feet have a good shape, though. They arch well. They're very pretty. Can feet be pretty? Colonel Grange's little daughter, Isabel in India, was the prettiest girl I ever knew. All the gentlemen said she was the beauty of the regiment. She has dimples and round rose-colored cheeks, pale blue eyes, and long curling hair the color of gold. Everyone said those things were very pretty. No one ever spoke of her feet. I suppose if feet can be pretty, then perhaps I do have pretty feet. I know the rest of me is not. Aww. My hair is too black and straight and short. Don't worry, the shortness will be fixed over time. I am too thin, and my eyes are a strange color. To be fair, your eyes... Where's my cursor? You can't even see my cursor. Of course you can't. Anyway, your eyes are the same color as her eyes. You don't have the same kind of beauty that dolls are made of, but that doesn't mean you aren't pretty. I think you're quite interesting to look at. Sarah did not wish to contradict her new friend, who had no reason to lie, but her inner conviction was that she was an ugly little girl could not be so easily dispelled. Will you show me the rest of your dolls and clothes? Do all of your petticoats have so many lace frills? Do you think any of them would fit me? I don't know. I suppose we can find out. I don't exactly trust her. On Sunday morning, the students gathered in the entrance hall of Miss Minchin's Select Seminary. Girls, are you ready? Form up into a line behind Lavinia. Sarah, dear, it is our custom to walk to and from church every Sunday, when the weather permits. That allows the horses a day of rest and ensures that students receive regular exercise. But I want to walk on Friday. It is important to look your best when we are walking out among the public. We want our school to always leave a good impression. I don't know if me having a bit of a stuffy nose helps or hinders the voice work. It worked really well for Lottie. You should follow Lavinia's cues. She will show you what to do. Lavinia is always a model student. I'm sorry, is this going to turn into a rhythm game all of a sudden? Because maybe I should actually hold my controllers. As if hearing her name, Lavinia smiled and tilted her head. You can learn a great deal from Lavinia, dear. And as her father is also posted to India, the two of you should have much in common. I'm sure you will make close friends. Now, go and stand in line behind her. Sarah made her way to the front of the line where Jessie and Lavinia stood close together. What are you doing? Go to the back. Miss Minchin told me to stand behind you. She said you were a model. Oh, very well then. But that's my place. You wouldn't want to disobey Miss Minchin, would you? No. You have to show our new girl how to behave herself in church. She may never have seen one before. Sarah thought it was wisest to remain silent. So one activity for each day. Each activity has 3 possible outcomes. Okay. So this... Yeah, unfortunately I got the bottom one twice. I was hoping to get an average of like 2 here. And if you... But this gives a lot of stuff. What do we want? We want... I wish we could see the other thing while we're on here. Because we don't know what she wants yet, but she wants... Yeah, let's save here. Let's load up this game. 5 belief and 3 grace. Specifically week 2, 3 grace. So we want grace, which is... Okay. This doesn't guarantee grace. This has a good chance of getting grace, though. What else did... What did she want, though? She wanted, like, belief. A 2 or 3 chance of getting that, or I could do this, and this can give Grace and a lot of sympathy. Tea party, tea party. Okay, here's the thing. Play with toys, play with toys. Try to get some vigor. Hope it maybe gets doubled, or I get at least +1. And then go for a walk twice. I can totally try to get that. Okay, well that sucks. I mean, I could just reload my save. That's unfortunate. Alright, alright. That works. Sure. So now I have a lot of grace. A knock came at the door. Sarah? Sarah, dear? Yes, is there... Oh, hello. Bonjour, mademoiselle. Miss Minchin hissed through her teeth, and the young woman in the maid's uniform fell silent. Sarah, before he left, your father arranged for a maid to be employed especially for your needs. She has just arrived. I believe she is from France. Yes. Her name is Mariette, and she'll be living in your rooms, helping you with your clothing in the morning and anything else you require. Please use her as your liaison with the staff. If you have need of food, send your maid rather than speaking to cook directly. And don't let her fool you. She does speak in the Queen's tongue. She swept out of the room, leaving the maid and her new little mistress blinking at each other in confusion. Bonjour. Excuse me, I don't speak French. Bonjour, Mariette. Je m'appelle Sarah. Comment allez-vous? Très bien, Don't all these new voices. Très bien, merci. And I am pleased to see that you are just as your papa described you. Oh, what did he say? That no other little girl is as solemn as you, and that you would make me smile. But why would being solemn make someone smile? Ah, it is your je ne sais quoi. It is you. Now, why don't you show me around your rooms? Alright, alright. Oh, Jesse needs a lot of stuff for an event. Okay, it's at this point that we try to... No, yeah, I want to see the other two before I... Okay, so Lavinia's event is only week 2, it seems. Unless that meant week 2 or later. I need 5 belief, I need knowledge, patience, sympathy, and belief. I don't think it's cheating if we use the save things for this, because we could just write down, hey, what do we need for all these people? So yeah, let's use, let's go with Lavinia's thing, because Lavinia's thing is probably the walk, and then we can go to Mariette later. Sarah knocked upon the door. It is Sarah Crewe. May I come in? You may enter. Miss Minchin's model student was this day holding court in her rooms. It was a rather small court, consisting as it did of only one loyal follower, Jessie Abbott, but Lavinia's posture suggested no doubts about her right to rule. Hello, Lavinia, may I beg your pardon? Your pardon? That is not begging. Jessie tittered behind her hand. I'm sorry, I don't understand. No, it is evident that there are a great many things you do not understand. That is only to be expected, seeing as you have been raised in the savage outlands. Over here in England we observe manners. Sarah was perplexed. It was not her desire to be unmannerly, but she could not immediately perceive what breach she had committed. You are too forward, Miss Crewe. I have not invited you to use my Christian name. We've already been introduced. Knowing one's name is not sufficient reason to use it. A friend would call me Lavinia. You and I are not yet such friends. Oh, Lavie, she is very young. Children use the names freely. It was clear to Sarah that Jessie intended to demonstrate her own superior rank of friendship. Not merely Lavinia, but a pet name. How funny that should be called a pet name, when as Jessie acts more as the pet to Lavinia. This is a school for young ladies, and even if she is young enough to be excused, she ought to practice. She'll need all the polish that she can get. After all, Miss Minskin has sent me to be her model. It is my responsibility to correct her mistakes. It's a silly game, these manners, but I do enjoy games. She curtsied then, if only slightly. I pray you will forgive me, Miss Herbert. I was too familiar. Lavinia waved a hand. You are forgiven, of course. Now, what did you wish to speak with me about? Miss Minskin said that your father was stationed in India. I was curious where you had lived, whether we might have seen the same. And now Lavinia held up her hand again. I have no interest in discussing anything whatsoever to do with India. It's not a proper topic for polite conversation. Sarah frowned. From the odd look on Jessie's face, she seemed to find the answer disappointing. Please understand, Miss Crewe, we are here in London under the shield of Her Majesty the Queen Victoria of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, Defender of the Faith, Empress of India. Everything that matters in the world takes place within these miles. Trade within the city, government and parliament, and society within the palace. India is a distant hinterland, filthy and rife with disease. It is a jungle out there. Yes, there are jungles, but they are not any more filthy than London is. Nothing could be more filthy than London. A proper lady expresses interest in India only to imagine the thrill of being made to briefly visit such a wild and terrible terrain. You should be very glad that you have escaped it. Those are exciting. Hush. Lavinia rubbed one hand over the other, as if brushing away dirt. I hope I have made myself clear. We will not be discussing India here. However, I'll be very pleased to aid you in learning the ways of the English, Miss Crewe. I am certain that is what Miss Minchin had in mind when she directed you to me. That is very kind of you. Not at all. It is my duty, and every good English man or woman is keen to do his or her duty. Like my papa, the soldier. Yes, if you must. I don't understand why she refuses to speak about India. Wasn't she born there? She must know how lovely it can be. It was the beginning of another week of classes, and the students were seated neatly in rows in the schoolroom. Miss Minchin walked up and down between the desks, ensuring that each pupil's head was bowed to her particular lessons. She paused beside Sarah, a book in her hand. Now, Sarah, as your papa has engaged a French maid for you, I conclude that he wishes you to make a special study of the French language. I think he engaged her because he thought I would like her, Miss Minchin. I'm afraid that you may have been something of a spoiled little girl, and as such you always imagine that things are done because you like them. It's a fault in you, and one that we must endeavor to train away. My impression, Sarah, is that your papa wished for you to learn French. I've never really learned to speak French, but that is quite enough. You have never learned, and so you must begin at once. The French master, Monsieur Defarge, will be here in a few minutes. Take this book and look at it till he arrives. Dutifully, Sarah stared at the illustrated pages in front of her. La Pierre, the father, La Mary, the mother. I'm going to butcher these French pronunciations. I hope you understand. Just like I'm butchering all of the proper English pronunciations. You look rather cross, Sarah. I'm sorry, I do not like the idea of learning French. I am very fond of it, but you must not say but when you are told to do things. Miss Abbott, young lady, should not make dreadful snickering noises like a horse. Yes, Miss Minchin. Sarah, look at your book again. Yes, Miss Minchin. The fields, the sun, like fairy, the brother. Oh dear. Shortly after, Monsieur Defarge arrived in the classroom. The French master was an elderly gentleman with a neatly trimmed moustache and beard, and hair that flew outwards in dramatic points. His eyes lit up when he caught sight of an unfamiliar little girl puzzling over a book of French phrases. Oh, hey, look, another male character. I can use the other half of my vocal range. Is this a new pupil for me, madame? Her papa, Captain Crewe, is very anxious that she should begin the language, but I'm afraid she has a childish prejudice against it. She does not seem to wish to learn. I am very sorry to hear that, mademoiselle. Perhaps when we begin to study together, I may show you that it is a charming tongue. Little Sarah rose in her seat. She was beginning to feel rather desperate. S'il vous plaît, monsieur, je n'ai pas parlé fier compadre. She began to explain quite simply in pretty and fluent French. Madame had not understood. She had not learned French exactly, not out of books, but her papa and other people had always spoken it to her, and she had read it and written it as she had read and written English. Her papa loved it, and she loved it because he did. Her dear mamma, who had died when she was born, had been French. What on earth? What is she saying? Is this some form of joke? Madame, there's not much I can teach her. She has not learned French. She is French. Her accent is exquisite. You ought to have told me. I tried. I suppose I did not begin right. Ma'am, I didn't learn French. I am French. Bishop Minskin slammed her hand upon the desk. Silence, young ladies, silence at once. And though the other students soon settled back into proper school and behavior, Bishop Minskin's lips remained tightly pressed together whenever she looked at Sarah. To be fair, she had assumed so much. Alright. Each activity has 3 possible outcomes. Okay. We'll save the game. This. Okay. We can go with the maid. The Lottie wants beliefs. Let's do stuff. We can write in our diary for a bit. Whoop. Alright. Writing diary. Back in my day, we could do multiple things over the course of one day. Go for a walk and practice dance at the same time. Sure, let's go with this. Done. Alright, we got some patience. We got a lot more patience. We got some belief. Alright, sure. At least that's one. We have a lot of patience. And vigor. If the French language fell naturally from Sarah's lips, there were other lips from which it seemed it could not escape at all, no matter how long the owner stared at her workbook. Le père, the father, la mère, the mother. To Ermengarde, it had seemed almost unbelievable that a girl of her own age could string together so many words of French as if they were mere trifles. Dismayed at her own failings, she was devoting more effort than usual to the trial of understanding her lessons. Her elbows rested on the desk, her hands under her chin, as she repeated the broken syllables under her breath. She stared so hard and bit the ribbon on her tail so fast that she attracted the attention of Miss Minchin, who, feeling extremely cross at the moment, immediately pounced upon her. Miss St. John, what is the meaning of such conduct? What? Move your elbows, take your ribbon out of your mouth, sit up at once. Yes, Miss Minskin. Matters did not improve for Miss St. John when the French master himself arrived. Good Bradley Bong Pang? Kind though he was, Mr. Defarge could not help but smile at her pronunciation. That is not quite correct. Excuse Spain, Le Bon Pan. Le Bon Bang? I don't know French any better than you do. Girls, conduct yourselves. It isn't funny, really. They ought not to laugh. Poor thing. It was a way of hers always to want to spring into any fray in which someone was made uncomfortable or unhappy. However, there was no way for any hero to defend or rescue Ermengarde from the horrors of education, at least not until the lesson period had concluded. Wait, why is there something? We only have one sympathy. Alright, I don't particularly want to be with Lavinia. I'll let Jesse and Lavinia go together, so that leaves Lottie, Mariette, and Ermengarde. And the only one whose event I can see right now is Mariette. So let's save the file to this. Yeah, 5 belief and 5 sympathy. Let's see if we can get one of those two things for next week. Mariette? Why is it that the main character's voice is the hardest for me to, reach? Mariette, is it alright if I ask you a few questions about yourself? Bien sûr, mademoiselle. What do you wish to know? What is your family name? Miss Minchin did not say. Delmas, mademoiselle. Oh, are you a relative of the great French writer, the author of the Three Musketeers? Mariette chuckled kindly. Non, mademoiselle. Well, not in a close way, I'm not. There are many with the name of Delmas, and I cannot know what connections there are between all people. Do you know all your cousins, and your cousins' cousins, and all who bear the name of Crew? I don't know anyone else named Crew except for myself and my papa. So you see, I cannot say my relatives might be at some distance. Sarah nodded. Where in France do you come from? I grew up in Limoges. You may have heard the Limoges box, the porcelain. Why is everything trying to notify me? Sarah shook her head. Well, they were famous once. What? Nothing. Perhaps they will be again. For now, like much of Limoges, they have faded. What is it like there? What is it like anywhere? It is a city, not so large as Paris or London, no. Is it near Paris? No, in the Passepus. It is in the south. You must rely on the railways to travel between them. All trains lead to Paris. Sarah tried to picture it. She did not know Limoges, but if it was in the south, then it must be warm and green, surely. She had seen paintings of France, stone houses, arches, and bridges, rolling green hills, hanging vines, and sunlight, always sunlight, not the fogs of London. It must be lovely. As you say, mademoiselle. See, I don't know what a French accent sounds like. How did you come to take this position? What I mean to say is, my papa and I did not have time to visit France, and I did not meet you until you came here. Did you meet my papa somewhere else? None. We have never met in flesh and blood. Your papa, he is a gentleman and knows many other gentlemen in fine cities like Paris. When it happened that he wished to appoint a maid, he wrote to this Paris gentleman to describe you. And I have a cousin who works for this Paris gentleman, and he thought of me, and so the arrangements were made. And I am glad that they were. Sarah smiled. The gentle warmth of Mariette's regard was very comforting for a little girl, one who had been separated from her family and made to live in a far-off place. It was true that Mariette was, for the most part, only another stranger, like any other in Miss Minchin's seminary. They were only just beginning to know each other. And yet, Mariette was not simply a stranger who might come and go like the students. She was Sarah's maid, the beginnings of her very own household. She might, in time, be the closest thing to family. I wonder about the friend my papa has in Paris. I wonder if he ever knew my mother. Did you see that darling little blue and yellow bird on the way back from church? It's only a bluebird. They're hopelessly common. I hadn't seen one before. They're country birds. They're like trees. You don't see them so much in London. There must be many more birds in the country. Are there any birds in England that are blue all over? I don't think so. Are there bluebirds in India? Well, there are some birds with bright blue feathers, but not all over, and some birds are blue all over, but only a bit blue. I thought that perhaps in England, I might find the bluebird of happiness. What is that? I shall tell you, all of you. Come over to my room, and we shall have tea delivered. You shouldn't give orders to cook. It's not proper for a young lady to go into the kitchens. Oh, I won't go. My maid, Mariette, will fetch the tea for us. You have your own personal maid to bring you tea? Yes, my father arranged for her to come from France. Come and say hello. Sarah and her entourage were greeted at the door. Oh my, so many visitors. If it's all right, would you please bring tea for my guest, Mariette? Oui, mademoiselle. I don't know what happened there. I completely spaced out for a second. Okay. It's like, yeah, it's like, ooh, pretty words on the screen. Mariette went at once to the kitchens to carry out her little mistress's orders. The head cook of Miss Minchin's Select Seminary looked up at Mariette's approach, her face pinched as her dough. Okay, I'm getting a theme from the music. Here? Now? What's this, then? Afternoon tea for 4. Oh, that is all? I especially want fresh cakes, too. Never mind that we haven't any made. Ah, none. There are biscuits already. Never seen that stop one of those girls from wanting more. Quick as you please. It is perhaps so, with some, but not with my mistress. Elle est une princesse, c'est petite. She thanks me for my work just as if she were thanking a grand lady. Huh! Giving herself airs, you mean? As you wish it. Still, I am very pleased with my place. Now, the tea? Okay. Okay. Save here. Go here. Overwrite the save. Yes. Okay, 5 belief or 5 sympathy. Alright. And sympathy is the hearts. It's belief. Which are those? Rain Diary can give plenty of that, but you can also just wind up giving double patience twice again. Okay. Don't necessarily need more knowledge. I can totally do that. Alright. Okay, cool. Oh, good. Okay, good, good. That's a lot of art. 6 extra artistry. Wow, okay. We do have 5 belief now, but we didn't get any sympathy. Sympathy is the only thing still at 1. Okay, but we have a lot of art. Right this way, dear sir. Lady Pitkin will be absolutely charmed to meet you. Yes, Miss Minchin. Where is she taking Sarah? Miss Minchin is showing off to another visiting parent, or maybe a donor. I'm sure I wouldn't know. Dear Sarah must come into the drawing room and talk to Mrs. Musgrave about India. Dear Sarah must speak French to Lady Pitkin. Her accent is so perfect. She didn't learn her French at the seminary, that's for certain. There's nothing so clever in her knowing it. She says herself she didn't learn it at all. She just picked it up because she always heard her papa speak it. It is simply disgusting, the way Miss Minchin trots her out like an ornament. I can't imagine being so good at anything that Miss Minchin should want to show me off, especially French. So is always imagining she'll no doubt grow up to be eccentric. There is one thing about her, though. She's never grand about herself the least bit, even though she easily might be. I believe I couldn't help being proud just a little if I had so many fine things and was made such a fuss over. A little? Miss Minchin brought you in to curtsy for a mayor's wife? You would purr, just like Tybalt. Oh, Laffy, don't be silly. Being a cat might be even nicer than being able to speak French. And every bit as likely for you. That's so rude. It's no use in waiting here for Sarah. She'll be at tea for hours, I'm sure. We may as well go on our way. Okay. Okay. So I don't want Lavinia. I still haven't unlocked the last character. Do kind of want to see Lottie. Do kind of want to see Marinette. It so far seems like none of the events are like time locked yet. But I haven't seen Lottie in a while. And Lottie seemed like so nice. Wonder if like going to different like events actually like changes the text that happens like in like the main like part of the game. Like if we'd gone to like not gone to Lavinia's event, which you have like spoken less of us, if we'd gone to multiple of hers, which you have like started speaking better of us, it's possible to program all that in. It just takes 4 bloody efforts. You have to write new scripts for every contingency. I don't know what sound I made. Okay, but yes. Let's wait. Okay. Yeah, I haven't gotten anything for Ermengarde, so I want at least one eventually. Sarah was seated comfortably in the classroom, gazing at the window and thinking. It was not that the seat itself was so comfortable. The long form benches of the schoolroom were chosen for function and ease of use, not for gently cushioning the tender bottoms of schoolgirls. Sarah's own cozy little parlor contained far more comfortable places to sit than the classroom, or even the dining room at Miss Minchin's. However, sometimes the change of scenery is more conducive to clear thinking. There's something interesting about being in a classroom when all the other students had gone. Still classroom if there's no class inside it? And yet, it was not long before someone else dared enter that room. Someone who stood at the corner of Sia's vision, unwilling to speak and interrupt, but nearly bouncing on her toes from excitement. Lottie? After looking outside and letting her mind wander for so long, Sarah's eyes seemed to view everything in the wrong colors. Lottie's round face was overlaid with pinks and greens. To be fair, she does have big pink glasses. She blinked a few times to clear her vision. Lottie clapped her hands together, taking this as permission to speak. Maybe go and see the doll, Emily, now? And have tea? All right. Sarah led the way up the stairs, motioning Lottie behind her to stay quiet. You must be careful not to disturb her. Disturb who? If we're very lucky, you might see. The door to Sarah's room stood in front of them. Sarah placed a finger over her own lips and then to Lottie's. Only after Lottie nodded did she reach for the door. Sarah suddenly turned the handle and threw it wide open. Its opening revealed the room quite neat and quiet, a fire gently burning in the grate, and a wonderful doll sitting in a chair by it, apparently reading a book. Oh, she got back to her seat before we could see her. Of course, they always do. They are quick as lightning. Lottie looked from Sarah to the doll and back again. Can she walk? Yes, at least I believe she can. I believe dolls can do things they will not let us know about. Perhaps, really, Emily can read and talk and walk, but she only do it when people are out of the room. That is her secret. You see, if people knew that dolls could do things, they would make them work, so perhaps they've promised each other to keep it a secret. If we stay in the room, Emily will just sit there and stare, but if we go out, she'll begin to read, perhaps, or go and look out the window. If she heard either of us coming, she would just run back and jump into her chair and pretend she had been there all the time. Lottie's eyes were magnified enormously as she took in this bewitching new concept. It was a delightful thought. However, Lottie was one of the youngest students at Miss Minchin's seminary and had such experience in being told things by other girls that might not be entirely true. Sarah, does she really walk? Do you truly believe it? I pretend I believe she can, and that makes it seem as if it were true. So it's not true. When you suppose things, when you pretend them with great vigor, that makes them almost real. If you imagine for yourself that there are fairies in the London sky, if you stare up in the sky, thinking about fairies looking very hard for them, you might almost catch a glimpse of one. And you're not quite sure what you saw. Was it real or wasn't it? Were you pretending? Was it a dream or a vision? Did you actually see anything at all? You know that you are pretending, so it's not so terrible if you didn't see anything, but perhaps just maybe you're right all along. Sometimes stories do come true. Do you understand? I think so. Would you like to hold Emily? Oh, may I? May I really? She is beautiful. And Emily was put into her arms. Lottie smiled down at the doll, grating her gently and fingering her fair curls. They must move very fast to get out of sight when we come in, mustn't they? I wonder if we could learn to move like lightning. Oh, you couldn't do it, you see. It's a kind of magic. Maybe people can have magic, too. That is nice to pretend. Whether we can have magic or not, we can certainly have tea. Stay together now, girls. Keep in line and don't step in any puddles. Just because church is over is no excuse to soil your nice dresses. The air smells very different when it has rained. It still smells like London. There are too many people and chimneys and horses. Keep lavender sachets in my room so I can smell the gardens even when I'm away from home. They're not much. My Aunt Eliza sent me the flowers. I stitched them myself. We have lavender in India, too. Oh, but isn't lavender an English flower? I thought everything in India would be saffron and spices. Perhaps the British soldiers brought lavender with them so that they could smell the gardens, too. Do you think the soldiers could be homesick? Of course. Soldiers must be very brave and bear all sorts of dangers and hardships. But that doesn't mean that they don't have feelings. And we must be brave, too, even when we are far from the homes and the people that we love. A carriage passed alongside Miss Minchin's students as they walked, seemingly packed to the walls with children, 8 of them siblings, all in such a giggling mass of blonde girls and rosy cheeks that Sarah had never seen before. The merriment was infectious, and Sarah found that a smile had come unexpectedly to her face. As such, it came as a slight shock when the carriage moved along and revealed a sight previously hidden on the other side of the street. A little beggar child in a heap of rags, too dirty for Sarah to tell if it was a boy or girl. Oh my gosh, you're adorable. Pricked by the sight, Sarah stepped out of line and carried her coin purse to the child. Sarah, wait, where are you going? Here's a 6pence. Go and buy yourself something warm. She hurried back to formation, but not before her steps were noticed by Miss Minchin. Sarah Crew, you must stay in line. If you go rushing off, you'll put yourself at risk. I should not like to tell your father that you were struck down by a cab horse in the road. I only wish to. Generosity is a virtue, but it is not wise or safe to come in close contact with creatures of the streets. Must be careful to clean yourself thoroughly when we return to the school. Yes, Miss Minchin. Sarah looked back, but the beggar child had already disappeared from sight. How strange that one child should be hungry and dirty on the streets, while another rides in a fine carriage and knows nothing but joy and laughter. And all of these things happen quite by accident, because the way that we are born. Alright. Okay, my belief is completely drained. So I want to get more sympathy, because I think that the beggar child would want sympathy. So by the time we reach here, I already don't know what we need. That seems to be potentially... Poor little child. Okay. So we still have like 4 belief, right? No. Our belief is completely drained by Lottie. If we could get 5 sympathy or 4 belief. Alright. Sympathy are the hearts. Yeah, I mean, I want, strictly speaking, belief and sympathy, so if we just write in our diary all week, odds are that we'll hit it at least once, maybe twice. If we hit it twice, that would be perfect. Of course, we could get patience like all 5 times or whatever, but... Okay, you know what? We want the middle option at least twice. Willing to reload if we don't get that, because that would be stupid if we don't. And seeing how this like seems to randomize, we probably won't. Like that. See? Okay, we got the bottom one 4 times. Is the RNG like already set? Okay, well apparently... What? If we don't get what we want, we can just hit L and redo it. Okay, is this going to be the same... No. Okay, it is different. Okay, our patience is maxed out already. And then if we get the top, then the artistry will be maxed out too. Ta-da! The fact that it like randomized like which ones you get So you could keep reloading over and over and over again until you get it perfect. So you have 5 belief and 5 sympathy. So that means 2 people that we can go with. Even from a distance, there's no mistaking Lottie's shrill little voice. And I think this is a great time to end this episode. So let's see what Lottie is doing a shrill little voice about next time, okay? By the way, this is episode 1. I'm already predicting something will make a big old turn for the Roars at some point. I keep expecting something really, really, really bad to happen. Or at least 2 really's bad.